Thank you all for being here. You guys doing all right? Good. Tell you how I'm doing. I just found out that my 16-year-old nephew recently installed a black light in his bedroom. I know. Yikes. Not everybody's on board with this yet. Let me say it differently. I just found out that my peak pubescent nephew recently installed a bodily fluid detector in his bedroom. I don't know if I'm more disappointed or disgusted. I feel like I let him down as his uncle. I think it's like I'm part to blame. I always thought I was the cool uncle. So like on Thanksgiving, I'll give him a sip of beer. His parents go out of town. I let him see an R-rated movie. I didn't realize we needed to have a sit-down conversation where I explained to him, I'm like, hey buddy, I just want to let you know, you're about to enter the stickiest time of your life. Ejaculate glows under a black light. And you're going to want to take those two things into account with any future interior design decisions. I don't know. I can't blame him. I'm not. They live in Ohio. What am I going to do? Also, very weird conversation for an uncle to have with his nephew. Uncles have a bit of a dicey reputation. It's his parents' fault, though, because they let him do it. When I say he installed a black light in his bedroom, you're probably envisioning a lamp in the corner that they screwed a light bulb into, and then they put a poster up from Spencer's Gifts. And that's a good guess, but that is incorrect. Because what they actually did is that they hung track lighting around all four walls of the bedroom, and then they hardwired it into a light switch. There's two light switches in that bedroom, and they're about that far apart from each other. And I don't care how good of a mnemonic device you come up with as a parent. You're like, all right, let's have a system here. Right light switch, right. Left light switch. Learn a lot about my son real fast that I didn't want to know. You're going to make that mistake one day, right? Being a parent's hard. You're in a hurry. You got something on the stove. You got laundry under your arm, and you go and you just try to like chicken wing it. You're like, I got it. And then just like, oh my God, the floor and the walls. Honestly, the ceiling is pretty impressive. That's a lot of velocity to get it up there. This kid might be an Olympian. Here's how we found out. My brother sent a picture of the blacklight bedroom to the family group chat. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, the whole gang was there. Just a Sunday afternoon. He's like, hey, look at what my son did today. It was the afternoon. The sun was out. You couldn't really see anything. There were a couple crunchy looking socks in the corner, but you had to zoom for those. Imagine if you had sent that at like 10 o'clock at night, it was dark out, the black light's on, and then I would have had to explain to my 75-year-old mother why her grandson's bedroom looks like a planetarium. She texts back, she's like, oh, great decorations. Is that Halley's Comet on the wall? And I'm like, no, it's Billy's. Pretty close on the second word, actually. My wife and I, we do not have kids of our own. No, we weren't ready for that. We just decided we were ready to handle the responsibility of cat ownership. That's where we are as a couple. It was a touch and go for a little while. We weren't sure. We went back and forth for a little while. Should we get it? Should we not? Here was really the debate in our household, is that I really wanted to get a cat. And my wife is very allergic to cats. So you can see the friction in our household. We had friends that had suggestions. We had one friend who was like, oh, you know what you should do is you should get a hairless cat. Gross. That's the worst idea I've ever heard in my life. I feel like having a hairless cat living in your house with you would be like having a giant scrotum living in your house with you. Can you imagine sitting on your couch, watching TV, minding your own business, and then you look across the room and you see this hairless ball sack licking itself and where its hairless ball sack used to be? And it scampers across the room and gets in your lap. You don't know if you're supposed to pet it or give it a pinch and roll. It's very confusing. I think we have a bit of a gun violence problem in this country. I know, dicey, right? It gets funny, trust me. I think we do. I think what's crazy about it is that like the solutions are so different from each other. Because like one group of people is like, all right, the guns, they gotta go. We gotta get rid of all the guns. And then you're like, all right, let's hear out the other side. And like, or what if we give guns to kindergarten teachers? And I don't know about you guys, but like teachers don't get paid a lot. Sometimes they have a bad day. Imagine a kindergarten teacher just having a rough one who's like, I said color inside the lines. Got to hear both sides out, right? I'm a problem solver. All right, get rid of all the guns because the guns kill people. That makes a lot of sense, okay? Why do we need to have the guns? It's always for the same thing. People who like guns, it's always for the same thing, right? Guns are here for protection. You got to protect your family, your home, your fragile sense of masculinity. Those are the big three, right? All right, but what if we get rid of all the guns, but we give everybody free karate lessons? No more guns, but everybody knows self-defense. I feel like that's a pretty good solution. It doesn't really stop the violence, but it does make the news a lot more palatable. Like if you flip on the nightly NBC News, it's a reporter like, behind me, one of the most violent tragedies in recent American history. A man came into his office today and punched 26 coworkers in the face. We have an eyewitness from inside. Ma'am, what happened? And it's this disheveled secretary. She's like, yeah, he came in with fists blazing. He was punching people left and right. I tried getting under my desk, but he came over and karate chopped it right in half. There was nowhere to hide. Wow, that sounds terrifying. I guess the only way to stop a bad guy with a black belt is a good guy with a second-degree black belt. Back to you in the studio. People only ever have opinions about the first two amendments of the Constitution. Have you ever noticed that when people try to be smart and they talk about constitutional law? It's always like 1 and 2. There's like 30-ish amendments. Nobody really knows how many there are. I have a joke about it. I'm not entirely sure myself. I feel like it's our attention spans, right? I feel like we treat the Constitution like it's the terms and conditions on Facebook. You're like, all right, we got to read up on this. I don't know how much I trust the government. We got to get to the bottom. What's in there? I think they're hiding some stuff. All right, number 1. Okay, free speech, religion, press, that's pretty good. Number 2, right to bear arms, not my thing, but some people, that's fine. Okay, number 3, you know what? I don't have time for this. I accept. Moving on with my life. A Third Amendment protest. I don't know if you guys know what that one is. That's one, no quartering soldiers. That's a better protest right there. That's just a father in a Walmart parking lot who wants his son to move out of the house. He's like, God damn it, Jeffrey, you got an ROTC scholarship. Get the fuck out of the basement. I always like the 8th Amendment myself. That was always my favorite amendment in amendment class growing up. 8th Amendment, that's the one that says no cruel and unusual punishment. It's right there in the document. No cruel and unusual punishment. What was going on in that meeting that they were like, we're going to have to put an extra word in here? Because like the cruel makes sort of sense, but and unusual, were they just spitballing ideas? They're like, all right, no bad ideas, guys. Let's get them up on the whiteboard. All right, what do we hear from Pete Rhode Island in the back? And he's like, what if we tickle people until they can't breathe anymore? Wouldn't that be crazy? Who the hell let this guy in the meeting? Pete from, I'm not even sure Rhode Island is a real state. Get that guy out of there. And they're dragging him out. He's like, oh, I thought if we were starting a country where women weren't allowed to vote, maybe we could have a laugh every once in a while. And that's why no one from Rhode Island signed the Constitution. That's all my time. All right, guys, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the show.